I'd like to welcome everyone to Big Hole National Battlefield. My name is Leslie and I will be giving you your tour today. Gibbons had actually ordered the cannon to come in late in the battle. The reasoning behind this was because the howitzer is quite large. It had a limber cart behind it which carried all the ammunition. It was pulled by 4 to 6 horses or mules at the time, and it would have made an awful lot of noise coming in. There was not an obvious trail at that time, so they would have had to cut trail for it as it came in. And so he ordered it to come in late in the day because he wanted to do a surprise attack on the encampment area. By the time it did arrive, like I said, the soldiers were pinned down. We believe that they stopped up here on the top, right where that red bark ponderosa pine is, set up the howitzer, but unfortunately it only came with 6 people, 6 soldiers, and only 1 shots fired off. Both of them flew over here, landed down in the willows in the mud, did absolutely no harm whatsoever. They didn't even explode because they didn't know how to fuse them correctly. So basically this here is a picture of what you would see if you were able to go up and look at that platform up above. It's a replica of the howitzer cannon. Although they fired it off, did no harm, what it did do was make a huge amount of noise. The Nez Perce looked up there, saw that it came with just very few men, and they decided to go up and take it over. Get on their horses, rode up, overtook it, okay? They actually killed one of the soldiers, the rest flee for their lives. Probably look down here to your left, and down in the bottom you're going to see some teepee pole structures right along the edge of those willows there. This is where the Nez Perce were encamped at the time of the battle. Like I said, there was over 800 of them, approximately 800 of them, so they figured there would have been close to 90 teepees down there. At this point in time we have 58 of them. They had celebrated the night before the battle took place, and they had actually gone to bed quite late, around midnight or 1 o'clock or so in the morning, and were sound asleep in their teepees. Now, Colonel Gibbons would come in from this direction pretty much the same way as you would come over from Missoula over the pass, and pass into here. He was bringing the infantry soldiers, which means he did not have horses except for himself and one of his men that was with him. There was only 2 horses that was actually in this battle, from what we understand. Colonel Gibbons was on one. Anyway, the rest were foot soldiers. They would talk about passing down through the bottom here. Actually, when they popped out on the hill, they would talk about the horses that was up on this hillside. 2,000 head of horses. And at that point, Colonel Gibbons had a decision to make. He had to decide whether he was going to take and move that horse herd back and basically leave these people afoot, or if he was going to continue on with a sneak attack. Because some of the people he consulted with, they said, if you try to move those horses, it's going to stir them up, it's going to make a lot of noise, it's going to alert the people in that encampment area to your presence. So you got to decide whether you want to continue sneaking in or whether you want to put them afoot. He chose, as we know, to continue with the sneak attack. And they would drop down through the bottom here and head towards the encampment area on foot. Soldiers talk about how extremely cold it was passing through a lot of these sloughs. It was in the middle of the night, it was clear. This took place in August, which is hot during the day, but in Montana extremely cold at night. So they would cross across here, basically try to get in line against the edge of those teepees before daylight. He had them placed, as well as the civilians, he had them placed in line. They were working to basically surround the encampment area, when, to their surprise, a Nez Perce elder would get up out of his teepee, hop on a horse, and come riding across to check on horses up here. Apparently that's what he was doing. Unfortunately, as he headed towards us, he would run into the line of civilians that was in the willows there. They, of course, don't know what to do. They know they're going to be discovered, and so they shoot him. Of course, at the first shot, that is the signal to start the battle. This monument here was placed 6 years after the battle. placed by the United States government to honor the soldiers that died here and the civilians that died here. It actually was built in a quarry in New Hampshire, and they actually freighted it out here from New Hampshire to Dillon, Montana on a train. Under siege all the day of the 9th, and then all night long, and then part of the following day. And like I said to some folks, they were actually surrounded by the Nez Perce, but the Nez Perce just basically up and decided to let them go. They had their families that had moved out of the valley. They knew that they were safe.